Presentation is in English, pero si mi presentación es en inglés, pero si ustedes tienen preguntas, por favor, hable conmigo después de la presentación. La tema es el desastre de desempleo ahorita en los Estados Unidos y especialmente en Illinois y Chicago. Y cuál es la conexión entre desempleo y inmigración y la lucha política. So my theme is the disaster of unemployment.
Yes.
And what that means for labor and immigration. I will not talk long, but I will talk as a way to introduce the combined theme of political struggle and labor struggle that we find ourselves in right now. We are in a disaster in Illinois. We have the second highest unemployment in the entire country after Rhode Island. After the so-called recovery, we are not recovered. We are in worse shape than ever before. We have, out of the U.S., the United Van Lines does a study of where people are moving. The United Van Lines is very expensive. You have to pay thousands of dollars to move your business or your home. Illinois has the third highest net out-migration of all states in the United States. People are leaving here by the thousands every single month. The national unemployment is 6.7%. Illinois' unemployment is 8.4%. Every economist who is a professional economist says that you must double that rate now. The real unemployment rate in Illinois is at least 16%. And I'll explain why we have to do that. In the month of March, Illinois had the highest job losses across the country. We lost jobs. 3 states, just to give you an example, gained jobs. So for example, Florida last month gained 22,000 jobs. North Carolina gained 19,000 jobs. Georgia gained 14,000 jobs. We, Illinois, with Pennsylvania and Virginia, had the highest loss of jobs. This is why the unemployment figures are not accurate. What all professional economists, and now you will find this in the newspaper, are doing, they are looking at the labor force participation rate. Before this crisis, nobody cared about the labor force participation rate. What is the labor force participation rate? We have a whole population of the United States. And out of that group of people from the age of 21 to 65, a certain percentage are working. And this is a more accurate picture of who is employed and who is not unemployed. Our national labor force participation rate is 63%. That means that 37% of adult Americans are not working. They are not in the labor force. This is the lowest since 1978. This figure gets worse and worse and worse every year. It is not because people are retiring. It is because of low economic demand in the economy. The United States economy is slowing and slowing and slowing down. There is no recovery. What does this mean for immigration? For the first time in more than 50 years, last year was zero net migration from Mexico. What does this mean? It means that the US economy is so bad that Mexican immigrants are returning home in huge numbers, or they're not coming here in the numbers that they used to. We have not seen this pattern since the Great Depression. This is a catastrophe. And the media is deceiving us by not exploring and explaining this to us, and our politicians are deceiving this. Because if I, as a researcher and an educator, know these statistics, they certainly know them, and they know them better than I. Our labor situation is very bad. We have 11% organized workers, union workers. Last year, which was very interesting, the figure stayed flat because new workers did join unions in the private sector, in the non-public sector. But what happened is that there were so many job losses in the public sector of our teachers, of administrative personnel, of city workers, of state workers, that the number remained flat. So people are starting to organize. Last year, I was the campaign spokesperson for the Fight for 15 campaign, Lucha por 15. And I met hundreds of workers who, many were undocumented, but many are citizens, who took the very courageous step of striking when they will easily be blacklisted by future companies, fast food and retail workers. Many of the undocumented immigrant workers who stood up were identified by ICE to illegally to check their labor verification. Very brave workers. Why? Because things are so catastrophic, and that there is no response but to fight back and to organize ourselves. I just want to point out the health panel was very wonderful, and there are connections between health and unemployment. We have an epidemic of suicide right now in the United States. An epidemic. The Center for Disease study in the CDC has finally came out last year and said, yes, there is a direct relationship between suicide and unemployment. We also know that if any adult experiences a period of unemployment lasting 3 to 4 years, they have a reduced lifespan. They die much more quickly than the average. We also have, which many people are not paying attention to, the mortality rate, the death rate for working class white women has risen sharply. Their health statistics have deteriorated. This is so dangerous that people who study health statistics, epidemiologists, understand that this is as catastrophic as the increase in the death rate in the former Soviet Union after its collapse, when men started dying at very, very high rates. So these white working class women who are dying now at very young ages is a warning to all of us. This is what this economy is doing to all of us. It is killing us. And there is hope in organization. I felt a lot of hope in meeting these brave workers on Lucha por 15, the Fight for 15. And I believe that we need to talk about how we can organize ourselves and what we can do to unify ourselves with many other communities across Chicago and Illinois. So I'll introduce Armando, who was a crucial organizer in one of a famous nationally known strike and worker takeover at Republic Windows. And this is an example of some positive things we can look to. Thank you.